Hey free to play gang, welcome back to another video. So the patch details are out and we're going to take a look at them, but we might split everything into two depending on how much time we have. But before we start with the notice, let's take a look at all the free summons that I've received so far for the past 2 weeks of not summoning at all and just collecting free gold records from like events, your daily logins, club shops, all your various kinds of shops and all that, and even the drops from like let's say Cube Miracle and your random Ritual Miracle run, right, for example. So I've obtained 42 thus far, which is about 20 per week, which would then translate into about 80 per month, which is well within my expectations. So we definitely do have some summons, but we are definitely not gonna be able to summon. We're not gonna get anything, man. I swear to God, this... Oh my god. Okay, let's take a look at the new Espers, and I must say that I am baffled. Like, this time around, I am trying to be very objective about the new Espers, and I must say that this guy who everyone is very crazy about, the big super cool crazy guy, right? Jiang, Jiuli, basically everyone's talking about him, the new 5-star Shimmer type. He is mind-boggling. So let's take a look. So Jiang Jiuli is a fighter Esper who becomes stronger the more damage he takes, right? Kind of similar to Taylor. So his first ability, Sky Smash, consumes a certain percentage of HP, deals damage to one enemy based on attack. So the lower your HP percentage, the higher the damage. So this is very similar to Taylor, except that of course Taylor has a shield buff, but that's not so important. Let's take a look at his passive, and we're not going to take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the main ascension part over here where, you know, they just repeat themselves. So in normal mode, Jiang Jiuli takes a certain percentage of damage for an ally when they suffer single target damage. So this is like a passive soul guard, which is pretty insane. In my opinion, this is really good. So you don't even need to be fast and you have the effect in play immediately. Now, based on the percentage of his HP loss, increases base speed, base attack, and base defense. This is really important that they are mentioning base over here because this affects the calculation of how you determine your damage, how you determine everything. Like for example, base speed, right? If you increase your base speed, that means that if you're running with Windwalker relics or if you're using a speed lead, this will be multiplicatively more powerful for him. So it's not the same as your total speed. Now in demon mode, increases base speed, attack, and defense by a certain percentage. So it's kind of like the same thing, but I'll talk about what demon mode is. So when taking lethal damage, he does not die and he enters demon mode. So removes all buffs and debuffs from himself and restores HP based on his max HP. And furthermore, he also gains standoff. Now restores HP based on damage dealt under demon mode. So essentially he revives just like Hyde, very similar. If he dies, he revives and then his damage actually heals himself, which means that you do not necessarily need to build him with Hades relics. But obviously a lot of testing is required over here. If anyone can even obtain this Esper, you know, contact me, okay? Contact me immediately. I'll get back to you. So here is demon mode. It is undispellable, which means that it is a gold buff. So he becomes immune to debuffs, cannot cast abilities or counter attack as well. And he randomly attacks one enemy every single turn that he takes, dealing damage based on his attack that ignores defense and restores HP based on the damage dealt. This is insanely strong, by the way. Before attacking, dispels all buffs from the target, and when this mode expires, transforms back into the original form. Mind-boggling, he revives twice. Well, kind of, right? Because, you know, when this buff expires, maybe when he takes a certain number of turns, he will revive, or if he dies, I believe this means that he revives as well. So this is really sick. This is exactly what I wanted for Biondina. So the thing I wanted for Biondina is not only to improve her passive, like the intelligence of her passive, but also for her to become a Shimmer type. Now the thing is, the reason why I want her to be a Shimmer type is so that, you know, when her passive randomly targets enemies, so speak randomly, she would then be able to pick anyone and deal the damage that she needs to do without worrying about type disadvantage, which is exactly what this guy is capable of. So this guy is like kind of like a combination of Biondina, he's a combination of Taylor, and he's a combination of Hyde as well. And I think he's so much stronger than Hyde because he does not have type disadvantage and he revives twice. What the hell? Now let's talk about his third ability, right? So Jiang Jiuli's third ability, Earth Shatter, consumes a certain percentage of HP and deals damage to all enemies based on attack. The lower the HP percentage, the higher the damage, and you taunt the targets. So there is more reason that he's gonna lure damage onto himself, which means that I feel like he is exactly how you want to build a Hyde. You want to build him super freaking tanky so that he can soak a lot of damage, and you know, when your allies get hit, he receives that damage as well. And that's really quite crazy. Oh my god. Honestly, I feel like anyone who has him is gonna automatically be very powerful in PvP. That's what I'm thinking. Now, next one we have Ophelia, who is the Thanatos, right? The lady who is with the scythe. So someone actually predicted Thanatos and you got it right, and I predicted Ophelia, so I got it right as well. So she's gonna be a 5-star win attuned Esper, and I do have a lot of win records saved up, so hopefully we can get Ophelia, right? So Ophelia is also a fighter Esper capable of inflicting debuffs and performing pursuit attacks. This is huge. Now, Ophelia's first ability ability, Elegant Strike, attacks one enemy based on own attack and inflicts bleed. It's not such a big deal. Bleed is kind of like true damage, but it does like 50% of your attack if I recall correctly. Now Ophelia's second ability, Heartless Reaper, attacks one enemy based on own attack. Each buff on the caster and each debuff on the enemy increases damage by a certain percentage. So the more buffs you have, the more debuffs the enemy has, the more damage this will do. So this bonus damage has an upper limit. So very similar to what you have seen in Zelma, very similar to what you have seen in Xiaoyin as well. So the caster restores HP based on the damage dealt. Gain an extra turn after killing the target. So pretty nice. I like it a lot. Now here's the third ability. We're going to take a look at Ascension. It's called Butterfly Dreams. Attacks one enemy subject to own attack. Based on the total number of own buffs and the enemy's debuffs, cast Elegant Strike to perform several pursuit attacks, which is basically the first ability, right? So based on the total number of own buffs and the enemy's debuffs, I assume that, you know, one buff or one debuff equals to one extra hit. I do not know, right? So cast Elegant Strike to perform several pursuit attacks. If the enemy dies during the pursuit attacks, continues to attack another enemy. Oh my god, this is kind of like a Chloe, right? This is like a wind type Chloe. Now the number of pursuit attacks has an upper limit as well. So yeah, I guess probably caps off at like maybe 5 or at most 6. Pursuit damage on the same target gradually weakens with each hit, and this ability and its pursuit attacks inflict defense down on the first hit of each new target. This is very powerful, so not only are you landing bleed debuffs, you are also landing defense breaks. She has potentially a lot of use, right? She's obviously going to be quite useful in Fafnir, well, as long as you're trying to debuff Fafnir, right? So I'm actually quite curious to see how she works in reality, but she's definitely outshined by Jiang Jiuli over here. But she's still really good. Okay, I'll still say that she is not bad. Her kit is really quite interesting, and I can't wait to test her out. Because unlike Chloe, she doesn't actually do random damage at the start, right? She focuses her target, right? So she kills one, and then she focuses on another target. So the multi-hits actually make a lot of sense, as opposed to Chloe just going crazy. Right, next we have Alice over here, who is a 4-star Shimmer type. Now Alice is a powerful support Esper, capable of yeah, she's powerful, that's why her lines are so few, right? Capable of extending the duration of ally buffs. This is pretty interesting. So Ally's first ability, Star Stream, deals damage to one enemy based on attack. Has a chance to call one ally in to assist. This is... oh my god. Here we go, Jiangman, here we go. Now, Ellie's passive ability, which is her second skill, Witch's Blessing, grants attack up to buffed allies at the start of Ellie's turn. She is immediately very useful used alongside with Anki Chai, right? Every other turn, your Anki Chai is gonna reduce the cooldown of everyone on your team. But I'm pretty sure that the attack buff here only lasts for one turn, which means that your Alice has to be super fast or at least faster than the rest of your allies, which makes a lot of sense when used with Anki Chai. Now, Alice's third ability, Crystal Shards, extends buff durations for all allies and grant them crit rate up and speed up. Dude, this is such a good buff. This is such a good buff. She's gonna be so good used alongside with Anki Chai. And I know I just keep focusing on the fact that she's really good with Anki Chai, but she is gonna be super good in a lot of different content. Let's take note that she is also a Shimmer attune, which means that she's, you know, readily available for every single content where you need a little bit more speed. So she's going to be super relevant in Temporal Tower, going to be very relevant in maybe even PvP, because on turn 1, she's already giving 3 buffs to all of your allies, right? She's giving attack buff on her passive, she's giving crit rate up, she's giving speed up, and not only that, when used with Nama, that's already like at least 3 different stacks onto your Nama immediately. Or, you know, like for example, if you are using her with Ophelia, Ophelia already has 3 buffs like that. So this is quite good synergy in my opinion. Okay, so I think that's all the time we have for the patch notes right now. I'm just going to cover the rest of the content in a separate video later on. Hopefully I see you guys over there. But anyway, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now this has been Daddy Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.